Welcome to the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, also streaming on expertcrsecrets.com, where we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy, such as the Deferred Sales Trust, is the best way for you to sell your highly appreciated cryptocurrency, primary home, investment real estate, business, so you can defer tax and create and preserve more wealth. Hey, I'm your host, Brett Swarts. In each episode, I am joined by some of the best real estate, financial, business, and wealth minds in the world, where they share their ideas, deal stories, and inspiration. So together we can make complex tax deferral strategies simple and passive income plans achievable. I'm excited about our next guest. She is out of the great state of Colorado, and she started an insurance agency in 2005. Along with building her agency, she began following her passion for real estate and investing in commercial real estate to generate passive income. This led her to founding CRE Wealth and authoring the Insurance Professional's Guide to Real Passive Income, which outlines 5 steps to any insurance professional can take to reach financial freedom through passive investing and so much more. Please welcome to the show with me, Stephanie Walter. Stephanie, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic and glad to have you on the show. We're going to be talking about reasons it's not to put your money into a 401k, as well as multiple streams of income and ways to do that with Stephanie Walter. But before we go there, Stephanie, I want our listeners to get to know you a little bit better. So would you give us a little bit more about your story and your current focus?
Sure. Yeah, I started in, just out of college working, for a big insurance company. Realized, within the first few years of getting the 2% raises, that just wasn't for me. And at that time quit and started my insurance agency here in Colorado. And I've always loved real estate, just hadn't had a lot of education about it. So I just kind of went, on my gut, and just got, very fortunate to have invested largely from 2005 to 2009. And just in 2016, got very curious about, doing things bigger on a larger scale. And that's when I learned about syndications, really did a deep dive in learning about those, and completed my first syndication in 2018. Realized after doing it by myself that I did not want to continue doing all the elements of a syndication by myself, and realized that I really enjoyed raising money. And just from there on, that's what I've really focused on, is raising money and educating investors. And I enjoy that very much. And I was just able to sell my agency in July 1st of this year. And I do this full time, I guess you'd say, though I don't work full time.
Amazing. Thanks so much for sharing that. By the way, you can learn more about Stephanie Walter at ERBE-wealth.com. And you might be wondering, how do you spell that? It's ERBE wealth.com. So Stephanie, I believe we've all been given certain gifts in this life. And, I want you to go back perhaps to your high school days, college days, go back a ways, and some people call these things strengths or superpowers. I believe they're God-given gifts, and they're given to us to be a blessing and help to others. So I'm just curious, what are those 1-2 strengths or gifts that you believe you were given? And how does that help how you help and bless people today?
I think the gift of communication for sure. But also I think the gift of hard work and determination, which I got from my dad and my grandfather, just very, very hard worker, able to really, have that entrepreneurial spirit, which I think at the end of the day, I have no question that what I do now affects so many more people than had I stayed in a regular W-2 job. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I just really enjoy opening up new ways people can make money that they never thought of before.
Beautiful. Absolutely love that. The gift of communication, hard work, and dedication. and opening up freedom and opportunities to make a big impact on a big scale through finance and passive income streams and such. So let's dive right into the topic at hand, right? Which is, first of all, reasons not to put your money in a 401k. We'll start there, and then we'll talk about multiple, income streams with Stephanie Walter. So what's the number one secret, Stephanie, or even the number one reason not to put your money into a 401k?
Well, that took me some time to get to understand, and it largely came from me working with my very wealthy investors, and I would look over their investments and what they had going on, and it really surprised me that well over probably 90% of them had no 401k. And, that, of course, was towards the beginning of my career of raising money, and just kind of looked into that further and, went to read a lot of different books and understand why. And the reason is that wealthy people like their money to be working for them at any amount of time. They don't want their money to be set aside in a place where they can't touch it, and it can't be actively working for them, most of the time generating a cash flow that comes to them. They view money as something that they want to be working for them. They don't want to, they also want to, they're very clear about how much their money is making at any time. And how much they have. And I think the largest question on the 401k side is, if someone has $500,000 in their 401k in 20 years, how much do they really have? You have a financial planner that can give you an idea, but it's all an idea, as well as we have no idea what the tax ramifications are going to be. And that is just something, those two things keep, I think, wealthy people out of investing in 401ks.
Very well said. Yeah, so much interesting thoughts there. So, and I've always loved the ability to invest in cash flow producing real estate, right? Something that you can control or add value to, something that you can take over the management if you need to, something you can, especially if it's an apartment complex, you could also move into it if you ever needed to, right? I mean, so many ways, and then also tax advantages for depreciation, offset income, and hopefully the 1031 exchange stays around, right? And Biden doesn't limit it so much that it gets eliminated. So lots there. But I also shifted. I went from forget the 401k, and the other reason I went from forget that and the even the self-directed IRA, I just cashed out of that, because what I found was I was like, you know what? I'm 38, right? And a couple of years ago, I was like, I don't want to wait till I'm like 60 or 70. I don't have to wait to potentially have freedom with my family and my next business venture, and not be able to enjoy the wealth now, right? I don't want to just park it there. I don't know. I might even live till I'm 60 or 70. Who knows, right? So I said, you know what? I'm going to focus all my attention in cash flow producing real estate in my own business venture, right? So I can build wealth now that could help me, give me 5 or 10 years back. Because one thing we can't get back is time, right? It's the one thing that no one can get back. And if you're having to put into this retirement account, right, that typically you're going to have these penalties if you take it out. You're going to hit with the big tax ramifications. It can be a big challenge, but most folks are, I call it the Blockbuster way of planning, right? They're just, that's what they're taught to do, just do these certain things. But I've shifted. So any thoughts on that, Stephanie?
You mentioned two really great points. Is one, the tax, that just mentioning about the tax issues in the future. And, people are always like, well, what do the wealthy do that's different? I think I've mentioned a few things. They're very concerned with what their money is doing at any particular time. They want control of the money. But secondly, they want to know, they are always mitigating their taxes, and people have, feelings about that one way or the other, but it's incredibly smart when you think of how much of your money gets eaten up by taxes. So if you come at your investments from a two-pronged approach like that, you'll do amazing, actually.
Exactly. It's no longer about cash flow. It's about tax flow, right? Especially as taxes and potential for Biden proposing from 20 to 40% on the capital gains tax rate, right? Increasing the income tax rate. So cash flow is definitely important. That's like step one. and building your portfolio and getting asset protection and getting, insurance stuff, everything to get that in place, your living trust in place, right? But then when you exit, we believe using the deferred sales trust is awesome because now you can capture high value, pay off debt, defer your tax, also move funds outside the taxable estate. But then you can start to tax flow engineer how you receive when you receive income, which is also very, really, really, really great. So that being said, Stephanie, for those like the step of someone working with you, right? So someone says, that sounds great. I want to check out what Stephanie has to offer, different things. Talk about maybe a commercial real estate deal that you how you vet it, what you look for, and how they can work with you.
Yeah, well, we look at, hundreds of deals. Largely where we're working, our markets right now are in Florida. And we're extremely conservative with our underwriting. My partner that I work with is looks at the deals, is given a lot of off-market deals, and quite honestly, we're very, very selective. We probably will have about maybe 2 or 3 deals that close in a year, because that's how selective we are. We want to be sure that, they're in markets that we understand, especially from coming from COVID. We purchased some retail. Largely, we purchased multifamily, but we did purchase retail in 2019, and that was in Florida. And thankfully, I think COVID just really solidified that your market and what's going on in that economy, if it's pro-business, just how the government is supporting things is huge, because all of our properties in Florida, we never missed a distribution payment. They continued to cash flow because, Florida was able to largely stay open regardless of political opinions about that. It's really important. I tell people that are vetting these deals as investors to really look at those markets and what's going on in that government, because that we saw firsthand how important that is.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. By the way, you can learn more about Stephanie Walter at irbywealth.com. That's irbywealth.com. Stephanie, running out of time. Are you ready for the lightning round?
Yes.
All right. Knowing what you know now, if you can go back to your 25-year-old self, what's the one golden nugget and make sure to tell yourself to do?
Jump into a syndication, fully start raising money, start raising capital immediately. Go big for sure.
What's the number one book you've recommended or gifted the most in the past year?
I love Killing Sacred Cows by Garrett Gunderson. Fantastic book about the wealthy's philosophy on money.
Perfect. Biggest frustration with the 1031 exchange?
I think my biggest frustration is that they'll be, that they're talking about eliminating it or greatly reducing it. So that's a real frustration, but I don't think people should, obviously what you're doing is awesome. Also getting involved with people that really take advantage of cost segregation can be a huge, huge benefit. But yeah, don't give up on real estate if they try to change some of these things around, because there's always other options.
Absolutely. And by the way, what Stephanie's referring to, what I do is the Deferred Sales Trust. We do help people eliminate the need for the 1031 exchange. It works for cryptocurrency, primary homes, real estate. You can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. It's capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. Next question on the lightning round, Stephanie, is this. What are you most curious about right now?
Ooh, curious about. I think just like everyone else, like what are all these changes in our economy going to happen in the next year or two? I talk to a lot of really, really smart people, and I get a lot of really different answers. I don't get anything consistent, like, are interest rates going to go up? Are they going to go down? Or, what are these different asset classes? How are they going to perform? Are people going to go back to work in the office spaces? So yes, I would love a crystal ball to know what's going to happen in the next couple of years.
Amazing. We're out of time, Stephanie. So for our listeners who want to get in touch with you, would you remind them one more time, where they can find you?
Yeah, it's www.erbewealth.com.
Perfect. Stephanie, I want to thank you for being on the show. I want to
Thank
encourage you to keep
you.
using the gifts and talents you've been given of gifted communication, hard work, and dedication, helping your clients get financial freedom through multiple streams of income, passive investing, commercial real estate, finding amazing off-market deals in Florida, using cost segregation. So much to learn from Stephanie Walter today. Thank you for being on the show. And I also want to thank our listeners for listening to another episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast. As always, we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy. Using a proven tax deferral strategy such as the Deferred Sales Trust is the best way for you to help yourself or your clients defer capital gains taxes, defer millions of dollars, and invest back into real estate or securities, all tax deferred. You can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com to learn more about that. We're also streaming on expert CREsecrets.com, so you can also check that out if you're a real estate professional. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening, and we wish you